Welcome to This Justin, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Welcome back to This Justin Radio Show, broadcasting live from the Georgia HIMSS Annual Conference in Atlanta, the Health IT capital of America. I'm very excited to introduce my next guest, Ovie Mughelli from Ono Consulting, but also former NFL player. Great to have you on air again, my friend.
Hey, great to be here, man. It's an honor when I get a chance to join royalty.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Crazy. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. You know what? I'm getting old. I don't know what happened.
No.
Like my son is 10 years old, and I retired from the NFL 2012, so he wasn't quite here yet. And he's just now realizing that I was the guy who played with Michael Vick and Matt Ryan and Julio and everybody else.
Jackson?
Yeah, all these guys. And so he's now like, Daddy, let's play football. And so every day we're outside, throwing the ball. And it's a blessing.
Yeah,
but like,
amen.
I have 3 kids who are in 3 different extracurriculars, and I'm all over the place. So I'm graying a little bit earlier than I want to, but it's a blessing. Yeah.
It is. And you also come from a healthcare family. Your father, yes.
Is an OBGYN.
Yes.
My sister's a psychiatrist, and I was a failure at first because my dad is he wanted
Academia.
all 4 kids. He wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
I told him I was going to go to the NFL after college rather than med school.
Yeah.
My sister made it hard for me, and she went college to med school. Like, all right, great. All right, next. And I said, Dad, I want to try this football thing. He's like, why would you play stupid American football? I said, Dad, that's I wanted to try it out.
Yeah.
I said, it probably won't last a year or 2, and I'll go back to med school. 10 years later, I was still there.
You went to Wake Forest?
I did. In fact, I
right.
just got inducted into the Wake Forest Sports Hall of Fame.
Amen.
So it was a huge honor.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. You're the keynote speaker last year, so very cool from that. Tell us a bit about that. So what you spoke about was a little bit of CTE, but also what to do post your NFL career. And talk about a second about that.
Yeah, no, it's just a lot of guys who play the wonderful, violent sport of football. They are not fully aware of what happens after the game. And they're not aware of some of the changes that occur
That's right.
in their mind and disposition overall to where they can at least try to find ways to alleviate them. They just go throughout life and they wonder sometimes why they have a little bit harder time breaking down things. And we're just about, you can't fix what you don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting tested, making sure we don't wait for something bad to happen or for us to see any signs or symptoms. Everyone should get tested if you play a sport like football at that high level. So we were just trying to make sure that the educational services were out there and that players knew, and even people who weren't players who had any of these symptoms, go get tested, understand where you stand, and then you can find solutions if necessary.
No, fantastic. And then we first met was through Rutherford, Seidel,
my buddy.
event. Yeah, so it was I guess the Captain Planet event. Yes. So that was kind of the first time. I guess that was like 5 or 6 years ago.
It was a while back. Like him and his wife Laura have been good friends of mine. It was cool to have. We had Laura and Rutherford at my wedding, and they've just stayed friends because they were a key part of me growing up when I came to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids were, unfortunately, they were born early, premature, lungs weren't fully developed. They were in the NICU longer than I would have liked, and part of that was because the air quality in Atlanta wasn't safe for them. Right. And me as I just signed a contract for $18 million, and I'm, with the Falcons, and I'm, man about town, hang out with like guys I watch on TV, T.I., Ludacris. I'm with Outkast. I'm living my life, living my dream, and my kids can't even leave the NICU, because I never was even aware or concerned about the environment, air quality, anything sustainability related. So I'm like, I want to be a good father. I want to understand this whole space. And, billionaire Arthur Blank got me with billionaire Ted Turner, who got me with his daughter. And I have been able to do some exciting and amazing things in the green space using sports to promote sustainability.
Yep.
And so that's how I got to Rutherford, and that's how I got to you. So,
Yeah. Well, I talked to Rutherford yesterday and Laura last week.
Okay.
So yeah, very, very special people. Married near and dear. So it's kind of cool that our paths continue to cross in that regard. And now they cross in healthcare.
They do.
Which is very cool. Tell me, what's your goal for being here today? And then also your attribution outside your family into healthcare to be here today in technology.
So healthcare and technology, it's so very important. Again, being a doctor's kid, I got a chance to see it up close and personal, the good, bad, and unfortunately the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And just watching my dad do what he did as an OBGYN. He delivered over 10,000 babies in 45 years, which is absolutely amazing. And I told Dad, like, I can't touch that. Me entertaining some people in the NFL world cannot touch that. But it gave me, even though I didn't go to med school, a bug. It gave me an itch I wanted to scratch in the healthcare space, because the work that is done here, the work that HIMSS does, it's so important, because your health truly is your wealth.
Amen.
I'm blessed to live, you know, in a nice neighborhood. I got people with, you know, $1, $3, $5 million houses. In a second, they would choose their health over their wealth. So I got teammates who, you know, played in front of millions, you know, made, you know, $100 million contracts. After that, I talked about CTE, talked about some of these injuries where they trouble walking, trouble remembering who their kids' names are. They absolutely trade their health for their wealth.
Absolutely.
And so if that's something that we can do here with HIMSS, that's something I can do in the healthcare space. That's why I work here. That's why I go to bed at night, you know, feeling good about the time I'm spending trying to give people better benefits, you know, more resources, options, and just a chance to do what I think every human being wants, which is to live a happy, healthy life.
So I'll give you props that I did not bring up this before, because it didn't even resonate with me until recently. The panel that you're on here, I probably only remember 5 keynote panels my entire life.
Okay.
Yours is one of them.
Well,
talking about what you go, your panel, and then also the way that the NFL is approaching with AWS, they're approaching predicting athletes' injuries in advance, trying to keep them from getting injured. It resonated with me in a whole different way, because you just talked about trading, you know, your wealth for your health, wealth with health, for sure, because you don't, you know, money can only bring you so far, but your health gets you everywhere and gets you along. So that's exactly what that organization and your panel was talking about. And then using AI and using technology and innovation to be able to, you know, look for where the injuries can happen and how do we avert that. So in the future. So it's actually very special.
Well, I appreciate that. And again, you know, shout out to him, shout out to Seppi, all my friends and family here. It's been great, because sometimes you can't throw more money at a problem. You only have a limited amount of resources. But if you can use innovation, you can use technology, you're able to accomplish so much more, reach so many more people, and, you know, find real solutions. And so that can't happen if innovation doesn't exist. Like I remember my father, and it was after I retired from the NFL. I told my dad, like, Dad, you got to get all your records to electronic. He's like, no, I'm using old school, like paper record. I was like, Dad, like he's super old school. Like he's a very stubborn, wonderful Nigerian man who was like, this is how I've done it. This is how all my friends do it. I'm not changing. I was like, okay. And so when I was able, me and my mom, his wife, were able to convince him that EMR, which was, it took a while to hit with everybody. It could be not only help for him, but profitable. He didn't believe it fully, but when he trusted us, we did it. It changed everything. So there's like small examples of that throughout all of healthcare, and it starts in rooms like this.
Amen. Very, very true. Well said. So Ono Consulting, tell me, so what do you guys do, and how can this community benefit from Ono Consulting, and tell me about your journey there?
I had to, like I tell my son, I was like, try all the sports and figure out what you love. Like, even though, you know, I play in the NFL, I don't want him to just do football. I told him to try baseball, soccer, you know, fencing, track, tennis, whatever. And he still haven't figured out what he wants to do, and that's fine. When I got in the healthcare space, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I did everything from working with a private equity company that was dealing with full risk value-based plans, and going to primary care practices and switching them from fee-for-service to value-based. I worked for stem cell companies, wound care companies, genetic testing, toxicology, you name it. And I kind of settled down and found like where I feel like I make the most impact, and where I'm, you know, the happiest in the benefits world. Part of it is because my wife, you know, has all her licenses and has been working in health and life insurance and benefits. And I'm like, you know what? How about I just work with you? Not always a good thing to work with your wife, but in our case, it's been great. So Ono Consulting, like, we're just a benefits consulting firm, and we help small, medium, large businesses understand how to navigate that, because the broker world can be interesting, and and unfortunately, most times, politics gets involved to where companies aren't doing what's best for their finances and their employees. They're doing what's best for their relationships. And relationships are important,
Right.
but the relationships with your employees are more important than getting your frat brother or your the chairman of the board's nephew that gig.
Yeah.
And so we want to just get them transparent pricing, transparent options, and find ways to make sure that they're able to achieve their goals, whether it's in the supplemental space, a group health space, or in these wellness programs.
Yep. Well, transparency in healthcare is critically important, and you're not talking about small dollars either.
No,
Obviously,
my
healthcare
gosh.
costs are
Yeah.
significant. It's actually outside the employee cost, the second largest expense for the business.
Absolutely,
So,
and your people are your most important resource.
Amen.
And
Right.
I use the little bit of celebrity I have left to get doctors to let me do one important thing, which is to do side-by-side comparisons.
There you go.
I always tell them, if you are with the best group health, supplemental, whatever, you shouldn't be afraid. They shouldn't be afraid
Exactly.
to pull back the curtain
That's
and
right.
see just how much are you being charged for, how much is the upcharge for this generic drug?
Yeah.
Because you don't have to pay that much.
Right.
You realize we can keep the same doctors, the same network, but when it comes to stop loss, your TPA, with your
There you
PBM, we're able to put them through different pathways and
Yeah.
get you so much savings. So unless
Yeah.
you just want to pay more,
Right. Yeah.
let's just have a conversation.
Amen.
Let's pull the numbers and let's see, what's best for you, because opportunity is everything. I told people when I got to the Wake Forest Hall of Fame, I told them that I didn't choose Wake Forest. Wake Forest chose me. They were the only school that gave me Division I opportunity, and I ended up being All ACC, All American, 10-year All-Pro. But if I didn't get the opportunity, I wouldn't have been any of that. So I say, I want to have an opportunity to show you that I can help you in the healthcare arena. I can help you group health, supplemental wellness. And that's fine if you told me I don't win.
Right.
I don't mind losing, but don't say I can't compete in the race and
That's
then
right.
I lost.
Amen. Very, very true. So, in closing, last questions.
Yes.
How those Falcons doing?
Oh my gosh.
And your podcast there.
Oh, so
Go Beavs?
Believe in Falcons.
Believe, yeah.
BLEAV, not believe how you spell it. Believe in Falcons.
Yeah.
So, it's not me. ChatGPT can do it right now. Who's the best fullback in Falcons history? It's me. Like I'm it. I'm the best fullback in Falcons history. Who's the best tailback in Falcons history? That's one's a little more arguable.
Yeah.
But I'm biased. Michael Turner.
Yeah.
You have the best fullback in Falcons history, the best tailback in Falcons history, and together the best running backs.
Yeah.
We have a podcast called Believe in Falcons.
Yeah.
We talk about Falcons football from a unique point of view, but we also are able to get current players on there. And Bijan, Jesse Bates, Wake Forest alumni.
Yeah.
We've talked to coaches, and we just give fans who know this team is too good
Right.
to be just 2-2
Right.
the confidence to understand that we're destined for greatness. So come, give us a like and follow, subscribe.
Absolutely.
We got 40,000 YouTube subscribers. Believe in Falcons. We're going to be right there with you as we go on the road to the Super Bowl. Hopefully. Hopefully, yeah.
Great, my friend. Go ahead and
Yes,
give it
sir.
here. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Welcome back to This Justin Radio Show, broadcasting live from the Georgia HIMSS Annual Conference in Atlanta, the health IT capital of America. I'm very excited to introduce my next guest, new friend of the show, longtime friend of mine, Jeff Buda, Vice President of Operations and CIO from Atrium Health Floyd. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate it.
Great to have you here.
It's good to be here.
So, has it been an action-packed morning so far?
It has. I was a little late getting here. I had some things going on, but so far it's been great.
Well, we'll dive into the conference a little bit and some strategy and all that good stuff, but you've been a long-time supporter of Georgia HIMSS, HIMSS in general, Georgia HIMSS. So I guess starting off there, what do you've been giving back for a long time, but what motivates you to give back? What do you get from this type of engagement?
Yeah, I think I reached a point in my career where I had, several people had helped support me throughout different phases of my career. I felt like it was time to give back, and one of the best ways was through Georgia HIMSS. I'd been a longtime member,
Yes.
and had been a participant through multiple states where I'd lived throughout my career. And so when I came down here to Georgia about 15 years ago, got involved with the HIMSS organization, became a member of the board probably about 8-9 years ago, I guess.
That's
about
where
now.
we first served together.
Yes, yeah. And so, and it's been great. I continue to be on the board and help with the annual conference and so forth. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Excellent.
good.
Where'd you move from?
Most recently from Pennsylvania, from the Philly area.
Sure.
My wife and I both grew up in California as well, so we went from California to Philly to Georgia.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. In Ackworth now?
Yes, Ackworth.
Very cool. So looking out over the industry, you guys have done some great things, obviously, with Atrium. Is that part of Advocate now, too?
It is. Yeah, Advocate's the parent company. Atrium is the brand in the Southeast under the
That's it.
Advocate umbrella.
That's it.
And so we're part of the Atrium because we're in the Southeast. But
Okay. So you guys are part of a lot of progress then, certainly within that organization.
Absolutely.
What are you most excited from a progress standpoint in the industry of seeing and the advances that we're making finally in some areas?
Interestingly enough, I was kind of a skeptic on AI. And I think there's something that happened probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not quite sure what it was, but all of a sudden it became pretty real. And Advocate's doing a lot with AI now, embedding it in, and we're watching, of course, working with our EMR partner and some of the things that they're doing. But we've got things like Microsoft Copilot spread throughout the organization. There's a lot of different things going on with AI. So I'm excited about what that brings. Still a little bit cautious, I think, as most
Rightfully
people
so.
are, and should
certainly
be.
smart CIOs
Absolutely, absolutely. But I think it's got a lot of potential, and it's interesting to see how it's been benefiting just our clinicians and removing administrative burden, things along those lines.
Are you guys doing ambient listening?
We are, and
Awesome.
in fact, I heard a statistic recently. I can't say for sure whether or not it's true, but I believe that Advocate is the largest DAX Copilot deployment in the world at this point. So it's out there for sure.
Yeah, I've heard phenomenal things. I mean, every guest today, from a care provider standpoint, has brought up ambient listening.
Yeah,
and what
it's been a
bringing.
game changer, and our physicians have given just rave reviews.
Yeah, and I'll even tell you a quick story. We're talking about John Holmka offline, but he has been on my show like 4 or 5 times just in the last 5 months for some different various reasons, and he keeps on bringing up the analogy: if you're not using AI to provide care, obviously there's so much research, there's peer-reviewed articles, there's so much there that you have to bring into your knowledge base to get better, to even stay current. So from that aspect, but also example of using ambient listening in the exam room where it's picking up. So he gave the example of provider who had actually had stethoscope in his ear. The patient was talking, giving information. The actual doctor missed it. The ambient listening picked it up. It was actually an important piece of their care plan that later on got added because ambient listening picked it up, and the doctor missed it. But they're, no fault. It's just provided, again, better care. He felt, not because of just that example, but in general, where AI is going to make such a demonstrable difference in care long term, that if you're not using AI-enabled tools, AI-enabled innovation, you could, in 3 to 5 years from now, be practicing malpractice in some capacity.
Yeah,
you've got to use it.
I think that's a fair statement, and I'll just echo some of what you just said too. We had a recent deployment. We had several of the physicians come back and say, we feel like the ambient listening has made us better clinicians, just because of things that it picked up that they missed. The quality of the notes is more thorough and very efficient for them, of course.
Love it. Great to hear, for sure. So what trends, and again, this kind of may feed into each other, but what healthcare or digital health trends are you seeing in the industry today?
So AI is probably the most prevalent right now. I think across Advocate, we're looking, and we're in a little bit different place just because of the size and scale of the organization. We're looking at just how do we gain efficiency from what we have, either using AI tools, as we were talking about, or just in consolidating on specialized systems and single systems across the enterprise, things along those lines. I think from an industry perspective, there's a lot of work that we're doing, and AI is a part of it, but around removing administrative burden for clinicians and trying to reduce clinician burnout.
Absolutely.
So those are some of the big ones.
Not to put you on the spot, but how large is Advocate now?
So we are approximately 65 hospitals, I think, today. About 165,000 employees, $30 billion organization. So pretty big. I think third largest not-for-profit in the country.
It's impressive. As we're talking about, got some good friends there, great organization. So what are a few best practices when you look out, even to some of your peers, what would you share from best practices or strategies to help navigate what we're seeing out there in the industry?
Yeah,
how do you even research? I can say like, how do you even research or go about some of these next steps?
Yeah, great question. We've got a lot going on. We're such a large organization. We've got several different councils within our organization that communicate with one another to really share information, hear what's going on, take some deep dives where we feel like there might be some advantage in some way, shape, or form. So those are some of the things that we're doing as an organization to really keep our ear to the ground, see what's going on out there. We're not, when we were an independent organization, we didn't have the luxury of being an early adopter or really on the bleeding edge of anything. With the scale of our organization now under the Advocate umbrella, we do have some people exploring some rather new and innovative and creative things, partnering with vendors on development opportunities as well to address specific challenges that we're seeing. So
I guess a couple of follow-up questions here. On the partner side, is there anything specific that you're seeing that, we talked about ambient listening, but any innovations there that you say, gosh, I'm keeping my eye on that. Maybe you haven't deployed it yet, or maybe you've even started. Is there anything outside that from an innovation standpoint?
You know, I'm not as connected to that as I'd like to be, but we definitely have a group of folks that are working on that. So I wish I could answer the question a little bit more succinctly, but I'm afraid I can't.
So even doing following there, thinking about a couple years from now, like 2 to 3 years from now, because I know I used to say in 3 to 5 years from now, nobody can predict healthcare in 3 to 5 years from now.
Right, maybe even 3 to 5 months.
Correct, exactly. Let's try a couple of years. We obviously know we'll continue to see AI advance, and then even provide hopefully much better care and ROI for these organizations that are adopting it. Anything else out there we should keep an eye on, or think it's coming down the pike that could be interesting?
One of the things I was thinking about on that on the AI front is I think as AI begins to mature and people begin to trust it a little bit more. I think that can actually lead to advancements in precision medicine. And so I'm interested to kind of see how that unfolds, or if that unfolds. Yeah. But I think there's some potential there, and particularly if you can connect the AI model and loop in some social determinants information, you can have much more customized treatment plans that deal not only with patients' health conditions, but with their social and financial challenges as well.
Absolutely, and you're spot on there. John's actually has been talking about that for a couple of years now. Going down, that's exactly the path that we're going down. So
I hadn't read that he was talking about that. I was thinking, boy, I may sound really smart.
You're on point there for sure, my friend. Even another piece that we're going to see. I actually just went back to school. The latest thing is I went to Stanford for graduate school and studying AI, and specifically, how AI has helped me tremendously, and I'm trying to educate people to really explore what it means to them. Because I talk about a lot on my show, talked about what the context in healthcare, but now I use AI to learn, and how it's actually in the educational system, it's gonna upend our institutions, because it's teaching me how to learn how I want to learn, not just the way the teacher's speaking at me, which may not be the way my brain processes information.
Right.
And I can tell you, I like my professors, but they're talking to the masses.
Right.
But now I'm used to everything being customized to me, and so now I learn through AI much faster than I learn through someone speaking at me in a class. And
it can give it to you in bite-sized, understandable chunks as you need. I've used it for some personal things as well. In fact, my wife and I just went on a trip, and we knew where we were going, but we didn't really know geographically. Okay, how do we get from point A to point B, and what hotel should we stay at? And we went. There was a cruise as part of it. Where are those in relationship to the port? And so I asked AI to help plan kind of an itinerary for where we were, and 10 minutes later I had it.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, it's going to revolutionize a lot. So certainly it's important to understand how it can augment and help your business life and your professional life, but also personally.
Yeah.
It's made a huge demonstrable difference in 2 weeks in my life. So a huge difference. What do you, and a closing question here, over the next, I would say, 6 months, where do you go to seek knowledge and wisdom information? And then, what are some of the conferences coming up that you'll attend?
Yeah. So we've got a Chime conference coming up next.
San Antonio?
San Antonio. So I'll be going to that. 229 event coming up in, actually in a couple. 229 is another group, Professional CIO Association.
Okay. Excellent.
Relatively new. I've been to one of their local events. They do them throughout the country, but it's a good group of people, and it's kind of an intimate dinner kind of a setting. But they're doing a regional conference in a couple of weeks, so that'll be good.
Excellent.
We've got some internal advocate, again, just talking about our size and scale. There's a ton of people to learn from within the organization, and some of the things that are going on. We've got some upcoming events internally as well. So.
Excellent. Yeah. Fantastic. Jeff, thank you so much. Great to see
Justin.
you again.
Great to see you too.
I'm glad you made time for the show. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your
Good
day.
luck.
And thank you to all my show participants, and certainly the people here in the crowd, the listeners, all of my AMD and AWS are great supporters, and certainly Beth Friedman, Finn Partners. You guys are amazing, and the entire HIMSS Georgia board and leadership team for the opportunity to broadcast every single year here. And again, thank you to all my listeners. Please tune in weekdays at this show broadcast 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. As always, you can find me on LinkedIn at Justin T. Barnes, or track me on Twitter at HT Advisor. And use the hashtag ThisJustinRadio so we can respond to your comments from the show. If you missed any of this episode or want to hear more, all my shows are posted on YouTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, Megaphone, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn.
You're everywhere, like Roy Kent.
Exactly. Yeah, right. That's great. Thanks, everyone, and that's a wrap. Have a great rest of your day.